Welcome back, everybody, to Ready, Aim, Live. I'm Wes.
And I'm Chris.
And before we go ahead and dive into the topic for this week, which is going to be this idea of ghost guns, I want to go ahead and give a big shout out to Chris and Tyler for having self-defense Saturdays that have been a really big hit and have been something so amazing that we've been able to actually put together for you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Wes. Me and Tyler, every Saturday about 10 a.m. are going to have a story coming out for you guys where somebody was using their firearm and or weapon in the self-defense case. Now, we wanted to shed the light on these stories because the media portrays them to be horrible things, but we wanted you guys to see that it is alive and well and that it's done properly and it's not such a bad thing.
Well, and I like it, and it's something that, gives you guys more content, lets you guys learn a little bit, more about maybe some of the states that you're not in, but, gives you a lot of firsthand experiences of things that are going on around. But let's go ahead and dive into, this idea of ghost guns and the big concept that's around them, that people seem to use it as this really fear-inducing word that has people freaking out. So before we go ahead and dive into some of our opinions, I'm going to go ahead and read the actual definition that comes from Merriam-Webster Dictionary. So that goes as a gun that lacks a serial number by which it can be identified, that is typically assembled by the user as from purchased or homemade components. So ghost guns, cobbled together with various parts, often purchased separately, are popular among hobbyists and firearm enthusiasts.
So that is a very cut and dry, no side of the aisle kind of definition, which I can kind of appreciate. But I did want to make the point, and I know I've said this
Roll
before.
into it.
Yes, the term ghost guns. I mean, it's a real word, so it deserves a definition, or a real term, so it deserves a definition. But it is made up. There is that's not a real term within the gun community. That's not really anything more than when they called ARs assault rifles. They use this word because it sounds scary and it gets people riled up about it, but that's not what it is. All it is that it is a weapon that somebody was able to build on their own.
Well, that's one of the funny things, that doing some of the research that we did rolling into this video, I'd watched the video that was the ATF probably about 2 years ago explaining what a ghost gun was. And in one of their explanations, they did say that a ghost gun was, a gun that could be machined, that was already machined, already had the cuts in it, just didn't have a trigger in it. But they still considered that a firearm and still considered that a ghost gun because you didn't have to run a background check on that. The problem I have with that is that there is no reason for it to be a firearm. Yes, it is a lower. Yes, it is something that you can drop a trigger into, but that doesn't make it untraceable because you still got to trace the trigger. You can still find loopholes into figuring out who made said gun. So it's not just this blank product that is just out there. There's even some products that aren't even machined, that you would even have to go and get that done yourself. So this idea that ghost guns are just completely untraceable, to me, is a really big farce in a lot of ways because it doesn't make any sense in the long run.
Yeah, what it really is it's not easily researchable because there's no documented serial number as the firearm, and that, I hate to say database because there's not like this centralized database that has everybody's serial numbers on it. No, it's more so the fact that the FFL will have a serial number for the firearm transfer, and that's easier for them to get that kind of information through a firearm serial number. Now, this whole ghost gun thing is very much blown out of proportion because since the conception of the Second Amendment, it has been written on paper by our founding forefathers. We have the right to build our own firearms. We just cannot build them for somebody else.
Preach it, man, because I am hoping that we get to this point that we stop trying to attack firearms in this all-out assault, when in reality, if criminals are going to get guns, why would they even need to build a gun? They could just go buy a gun that would not have any sort of serial numbers on it, would have nothing that's traceable on it, but you're going after the enthusiasts and the people that are, wanting to build their own guns. We've built our own guns from the ground up. Yes, they have a serial number on them, but just because somebody wants to build it doesn't mean that, that they're evil for that, or that criminals aren't going to get guns in the long run. I don't it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, a lot of these 80% kits that they're really going after is their big target right now. Honestly, came about for people that wanted to be like amateur gun. Oh, jeez, I'm blanking on the term.
Well, like a gunsmith?
Yes, thank you. I was blanking on that. Sorry, guys. And people that wanted to be like get into a little bit of amateur gunsmithing and stuff like that, like your AR-15 80%, so you still have to mill out the trigger group area, and that you can do by hand if you really want to try it, or they make machines and stuff like that. But then there's also like the P80 kits. There's a lot of cuts and a little bit of milling that you have to do to get it ready. So you're doing some amateur gunsmithing in it while also building your firearm with the exact parts and pieces that you want. So therefore, it's what you want from the get-go, and they're demonizing these as easily accessible and easily readily convertible to a working firearm that anybody can get their hands on and stuff like that, which, okay, sure, but making them outlawed is not going to stop the criminals from getting the firearms that they're going to use in the crimes. Whether they're the 80% kits that they decide to go and build, which most of them aren't competent enough or aren't willing to sink the time into it. They'll just go to somebody who's giving them a scratch serial number gun or has built one and decides they don't want it and they're going to sell it on the black market. And that's how they're going to get their guns. The laws of banning these products, criminals have banned products all the time. It doesn't make a difference.
And the biggest problem that I have with this, in just a personal aspect, is the fact that we're playing on people's emotions. Because in some of the other videos that I've seen from news channels that have gone out and done the research at the gun shows, and they've gone out and seen how easy it is to buy these, already, machined out lowers, like, they're playing on the heartstrings to these people that are like, do you feel responsible that somebody built a gun and then went out and committed a crime? And it's like, no, because I am selling a product that I know that 9/10 of the people that I'm selling it to are gun enthusiasts that are going out there building their own guns, wanting to use their Second Amendment right, since that is a Second Amendment right to be able to make your own gun. You're feeding off the heartstrings of people that are sad by the things that are going on around them, but in the long run, you're just trying to hurt the 2A community. And it seems like we have a snowball effect of how we are going to attack in different ways the 2A community and the gun enthusiasts, and we're going to take every avenue possible. And that's my biggest ploy, is the fact that don't attack people's heartstrings. I get that you're trying a cause, but you're pulling on the wrong heartstrings that are going to have people that are going to get more angry with the fact that you're trying to take something away from us than you are going to help anybody else.
Yeah, and I just got a point to say: the Constitution doesn't grant our rights; it enshrines them. It's the job of the government to protect them, not take away from them.
Yes, sir.
So the fact that they're doing things like this just kind of shows malicious intent. And like he said, they're taking people's emotions and twisting them and trying to make them work against the people who are trying to just abide by the law, when all reality, the things that they should be doing and the way that they should be talking about this is that the people that are going to do these kinds of things and commit these kind of crimes, whether they have a 80% kit or a black market firearm that they're finding, is just increasing the penalties, making things harder on them. In one of our self-defense Saturday videos, I touched on this topic. It's a very good way of doing or getting criminals to slow down in their tracks and stop and think before they do the things that they're doing, because being relaxed on punishments is the reason why they just go ahead and do it. Because if they just think, oh, I'm just going to get a slap on the wrist or a month's time, it's worth it. But if I'm going to get 20 years for using an illegal firearm, maybe they'll think twice about it.
Well, and you could only be hopeful, but in one of our more recent videos, we actually talked about constitutional carry and our pros and cons of it, the reasons that we wanted it, and giving a kind of a plea to Ron DeSantis out there. And within that time frame, we've actually seen that he is hoping and vowing to push along the constitutional carry. So this right now is another one of those things that we're really trying to get people out there to use that voice. If you want to put a comment, in the comment section below about how you feel about this topic, or even, you want to share this video with your friends and, have a voice about the things that are going on in the world that you don't agree with or you think that should change, this is a perfect opportunity and a perfect, platform to be able to do that. And this is right here would be another step in that direction. I'm so glad that we could go ahead and dive into, some of our opinions on ghost guns, give you the definition, let you actually make a formed opinion on these things. We're always so happy to be able to give you guys content, whether it's on Fridays or Saturdays. Stick around, grab some more videos, watch them, grab a cup of coffee like Chris likes to always say. We got stories on Facebook. We got reels on Instagram. We got all kinds of content going out there. And even now, we kind of have a Twitter going on. So we'll go ahead and pop that on the link tree, which is in the description below. But Chris, you got any final thoughts?
Get in the comment section below. Tell us what you think about this whole ghost gun thing, what you think about the term, what your opinions are on these 80% kits, the big things that are being targeted, and how you think the government or municipalities and us as a community should go about this when it comes to deterring people from building these things with a malicious intent and trying to take our rights away.
All right, guys. Go ahead and join us back here on Fridays and Saturdays. And always remember, guys, who's got your six?